Russia has intensified its assault on Ukraine, shattering hopes of an imminent ceasefire. The latest onslaught, termed by some as the most brutal aerial bombardment in the entire 40-month conflict, has left Kyiv and other cities under relentless fire, with hundreds of drones and missiles raining down on cities. At least 12 lives have been lost, adding to the devastation. Even more disturbing, this apparently ruthless attack came just as Russia and Ukraine conducted a prisoner swap, one of the very few tangible results from peace negotiations in Istanbul earlier this month. Yet, instead of signaling a shift towards de-escalation, these attacks are weaponizing diplomacy. Why have ceasefire discussions failed so far? The dots aren't just there, they're glaring. The pattern is clear. The parties aren't negotiating, they're manipulating.
Let's connect the dots. In a high-stakes exchange, Russia and Ukraine traded 1,000 prisoners each on Sunday, May 25, the largest swap since the war erupted more than 3 years ago. Spanning 3 days, the operation saw prisoners of war and 120 civilians from both sides return home. Sunday alone witnessed the handover of 303 captives, their release marked by tears, relief and emotional calls to loved ones. Despite this rare breakthrough, the May 16 peace talks failed to secure a ceasefire, leaving Ukraine, the US and Western nations demanding an unconditional 30-day halt to hostilities. Yet, the battlefield remains unchanged. Peace remains elusive.
Russia unleashed 367 drones and missiles in a devastating overnight assault, the largest aerial attack of the conflict, hitting Ukrainian cities, including Kyiv, and leaving at least 12 dead, dozens injured.
This brutal retaliation follows 800 Ukrainian drone strikes deep inside Russia, including Moscow itself, according to reports. The Foreign Minister Lavrov vowed revenge, and Russia delivered.
Ukrainian President Zelenskyy has demanded harsher sanctions, warning the war will rage on unless Moscow is forced to stop. But the battlefield tells a grim truth. Diplomatic efforts are failing, and the US President Trump admits he has no idea what the hell happened.
Yeah, I'll give you an update. I'm not happy with what Putin's doing. He's killing a lot of people, and I don't know what the hell happened to Putin. I've known him a long time, always gotten along with him, but he's sending rockets into cities and killing people, and I don't like it at all, okay? We're in the middle of talking, and he's shooting rockets into Kyiv and other cities. I don't like it at all.
Mr. President, what do you want to do about that?
I'm surprised. I'm very surprised. We'll see what we're going to do. What am I going to tell you? You're the fake news, aren't you? You're totally fake. All right, any other questions? I don't like what Putin is doing, not even a little bit. He's killing people. And something happened to this guy, and I don't like it.
Russia is revisiting its past, and Stalin is at the center of it. A newly unveiled monument to Joseph Stalin in Moscow's Taganskaya metro station has stirred deep debate. Some view it as a historical tribute. Others see it as an unsettling reminder of a leader who presided over immense suffering. The monument recreates a Stalin-era piece from 1950, depicting him standing on Red Square, surrounded by adoring Soviet citizens. Its original title, Gratitude of the People to the Leader and Commander, honors his wartime leadership, particularly his role in the Battle of Stalingrad, 1942-43, a turning point against Nazi Germany. His place at the Yalta Conference of 1945 alongside Winston Churchill and Franklin D. Roosevelt also cemented his global influence in shaping the post-war world. Now, as Russia marks 80 years since World War II, Stalin's image resurfaces, raising questions, emotions, and fears. Is this nostalgia or rewriting history?
Мне кажется, что сейчас время и сама политическая ситуация.
It seems to me that now the time and the political situation that's happening in our country are a little similar to the time of the late Stalinist period of the early 50s. It's the same self-isolation, it's the same conservative ideology and reliance on our own strength. And if we rely only on our own strength and self-isolate within our own country or together with allies, then we need to unite around the chief, around the leader. And this theme with Stalin, with his aesthetics, with Stalin's compositions, that we need to trust our leader and be happy and not criticize those in power, it's very consonant with our time.
Довериться своему лидеру и быть счастливым.
War history and militaristic fervor run deep in Russian society, and the echoes of Stalin's wartime strategies still fuel the nation's war confidence today. Under Stalin, the Red Army mobilized on an unprecedented scale, crushing Nazi Germany and cementing Russia's military supremacy, a legacy that continues to shape its relentless war effort now. But while defeat on the battlefield seems unlikely, economic warfare is escalating. The 17th round of EU sanctions is attempting to hit at the heart of Russia's war machine. Russia's shadow fleet of nearly 200 oil tankers have been blacklisted, cutting off crucial revenue. Third-party enablers, firms in Vietnam, Serbia and Turkey have been punished for supplying Russia's military. 75-plus individuals and entities linked to sabotage across Europe have been sanctioned. Surgutneftegas, a key pillar of Russian energy, now faces severe restrictions. EU leaders threaten even harsher measures unless Moscow agrees to a ceasefire.
Yet Ukraine remains unsatisfied. Its foreign minister insists that more pressure is needed.
We also must step beyond 17 package. Oil price cap and our point of view, our position, reasonable price cap $30. Also, we need to pressure and we need to impact sanctions on banking system, on banking infrastructure, Russian banking infrastructure, including central bank.
The US remains absent from the latest EU sanctions, but Ukraine refuses to back down, ramping up its military-industrial complex. On May 22, dozens of European-made drones were unveiled in the Kyiv region, with 15 companies showcasing long-range strike drones designed to hit targets 40-plus kilometers away. The government insists these drones must be cheap, mass-produced, and resilient against enemy warfare.
Meanwhile, Russian Foreign Minister Lavrov has reignited a long-standing grievance, claiming Russian speakers in Ukraine face discrimination. He insists the conflict could end if Kyiv repeals these so-called discriminatory laws. Kyiv denies any such discrimination.
На территории Украины, которая за пределами.
There are millions of people who speak the Russian language, which is native for them, on Ukraine's territory beyond the constitutional boundaries of the Russian Federation. It would be a very big crime to leave them under the rule of the junta, which is banned to even speak the Russian language. Well, they've not banned it from thinking yet. I hope, and I'm confident, that we will not allow this to happen. I hope too that the international community will not allow a mockery of the UN Charter in this manner.
Мы-то точно этого не допустим. Надеюсь, что и мировое сообщество.
War fuels profit, and numbers are staggering. Russia's defense firms saw a 40% revenue surge as weapon production ramped up. Ukraine secured $37.6 billion in US military aid, with Europe and UK adding $10.7 billion more. Global arms sales hit $632 billion, with US companies dominating. Lockheed, Raytheon, Boeing, and General Dynamics are reaping record profits. Amid this war economy, who stands for peace? The people do. The Vatican has stepped forward, with Pope Leo XIV offering to mediate. Russia has refused the offer, saying it is not neutral ground.
Peacemakers' push for humanitarian aid prisoners exchanges, and help for displaced children. But while the war machine churns on, true power may lie not in prolonging the fight, but in choosing peace. What could have sparked World War III remains contained, for now, to a regional conflict rather than a full-scale global war. What you see on your screen is the campus of one of the most prestigious universities in the world. This is Harvard University. Now you can see the iconic H symbol, the flags, and the university t-shirts. But right now, Harvard is making headlines. But why? The reason is the US President Donald Trump.
Well, look, part of the problem with Harvard is that there are about 31%, almost 31% of foreigners coming to Harvard. We give them billions of dollars, which is ridiculous.
Last week, the Trump administration revoked Harvard's ability to enroll foreign students. Under this decision, international students must transfer to another university or risk losing their legal status in the United States.
We do grants, which we're probably not going to be doing much grants anymore to Harvard. But they're 31%, but they refuse to tell us who the people are. We want to know who the people. Now, a lot of the foreign students we wouldn't have a problem with. I'm not going to have a problem with foreign students, but it shouldn't be 31%. It's too much because we have Americans that want to go there and to other places, and they can't go there because you have 31% foreign. Now, no foreign government contributes money to Harvard. We do. So why are they doing so many?
The US Department of Homeland Security was ordered to terminate Harvard's certification under the Student and Exchange Visitor Program for the 2025-2026 school year. But why was such a drastic move taken against such a prestigious university? The Trump administration says Harvard allowed an unsafe environment for Jewish students. It claims the campus tolerated anti-American pro-terrorist protests and accused Harvard of ties to the Chinese Communist Party, even hosting members of a Chinese paramilitary group last year. According to the Trump administration, Harvard refused to provide information that the US Department of Homeland Security demanded about some foreign student visa holders at the university.
We want a list of those foreign students, and we'll find out whether or not they're okay. Many will be okay, I assume. And I assume with Harvard, many will be bad. And then the other thing is they're very anti-Semitic. Everybody knows they're anti-Semitic, and that's got to stop immediately.
US Secretary of Homeland Security Kristi Noem sent a letter to Harvard with a 72-hour ultimatum to submit protest-related records. That includes any videos or audio recordings of foreign students involved in protests over the past 5 years. Only then would the government consider restoring Harvard's certification. Harvard called the US government's action unlawful. A federal judge has now temporarily blocked the administration's action, saying it would cause immediate harm to the university and more than 7,000 international students. But this court order is temporary, and the Trump administration has said it will appeal. Now let's look at the numbers. In the 2024-2025 academic year, Harvard enrolled about 6,800 international students, roughly 27% of its student body. The largest groups of foreign students came from China, which amounts to about 20%. After that were students from Canada, India, UK, South Korea, and others. Harvard has now filed a lawsuit against the Trump administration. In a complaint filed in a federal court in Boston, the university called the decision a blatant violation of the First Amendment and other federal laws. Harvard said, without its international students, Harvard is not Harvard. The Trump administration has already frozen $3 billion in federal grants to the university. All this began when Harvard students joined pro-Palestinian demonstrations on and off campus, protesting against Israel's military actions in Gaza. Since President Trump took office in January, his administration has accused universities of failing to protect Jewish students during these protests. This is part of a broader clash between the White House and elite universities. President Trump and his supporters claim that institutions like Harvard show a left-wing bias and don't align with American values. Harvard is not alone. At Columbia University, similar protests led to the Trump administration to cancel $400 million in federal funding, also citing anti-Semitism on campus. So what happens if Harvard loses its certification? Thousands of international students could lose their legal status overnight. Students who already paid tuition, secured visas, and booked flights might be locked out of the country. Those already on the campus would have to leave or transfer to another certified school. Even if Harvard wins in court, this situation could discourage future applicants from abroad. Uncertainty over visa status makes long-term planning difficult. What does this mean for Indian students? India sends more students to the US than any other country, over 337,000 in the year 2024. At Harvard alone, 788 Indian students could be directly impacted. Let's listen to some of the students.
I just couldn't believe it because I thought, the administration and Harvard have been like back and forth for the last couple of months, right, on various issues and pulling funding and stuff, which is already very painful for Harvard. But I thought that was the maximum pressure that the administration was able to put on Harvard. I mean, like as a member of the Harvard community, people are very, proud of, Harvard being able to stand firm, right, compared to Columbia, for instance, which already kind of caved to the requests. But then, I guess today kind of really fundamentally reset people's belief, in how far the administration could go.
It is definitely shocking and very uncomfortable for all of us, but we have to say that we prepared for this. I mean, there were warnings before and we always accounted for this possibility. It might happen. I'd say it's a real fear and a real threat. So it might happen. Even if we win at court, we do not know if the government will accept that or if the whole situation will just take too long for us to react in time.
Even high-profile students are at risk. That includes Cleo Carney, the daughter of Canada's Prime Minister Mark Carney, and Princess Elizabeth, first in line to the Belgian throne. After the US government's move this week to block Harvard University from enrolling foreign nationals, a university in Hong Kong has promised unconditional offers for international students. Hong Kong University of Science and Technology said it would help ensure a smooth transition for students unable to enroll for the next school year. Meanwhile, China has criticized the Trump administration's move.
Educational cooperation between China and the United States is mutually beneficial. China has always opposed the politicization of educational cooperation. This approach from the United States will only damage the image and international credibility of the United States. China will firmly safeguard the legitimate rights and interests of overseas Chinese students and scholars.
As the legal battle between Harvard University and the Trump administration unfolds, one thing remains clear. The fate of thousands of international students hangs in the balance. Now many are left wondering what comes next for themselves and for the future of global education in the United States. That's all in this edition of Connecting the Dots. We'll see you next time in the next episode with more raging issues. Until then, it's goodbye from all of us in the Delhi newsroom. This is Mark Lin signing off. Take care and stay safe. Namaskar.